Obviously, one of the biggest stories this week, in addition to the text messages, the PowerPoints, the communications, all of that, Jim Jordan, Republican representative from the state of Ohio, admitted that, yeah, he was one of the people that actively had a plan to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Jim Jordan texted Mark Meadows, and Jordan's office confirmed this. Jordan's plan, because he came up with one on his own, didn't want to rely on everybody else, texted his plan to Mark Meadows and quoted Alexander Hamilton, not a quote from the popular musical, but actually from Alexander Hamilton, which was a lot less interesting, and tried to convince him that Mike Pence absolutely had the authority to go in front of the bodies of Congress and throw out whichever electoral college votes he didn't want. And that was Jim Jordan's plan. The next day, on Thursday, because the Jim Jordan stuff was confirmed on Wednesday, then on Thursday, the New York Times comes out with a major story telling us, hey, it wasn't just Jim Jordan. It was other members of the Freedom Caucus as well. Paul Gosar, Andy Biggs, Scott Perry, Mo Brooks, Louie Gohmert. Essentially, mostly the usual suspects, right? The people that you would obviously assume would be doing this. And their plan together, because they also had a plan to overturn the election, was to reach out and use a little bit of force if they needed to get Republican governors, specifically Doug Ducey over in Arizona, to throw out the results and just go ahead and send the pro-Trump electors to Congress, because of all the fraud. And that was the big thing they were trying to push. All the fraud out there. Oh, we got to do something. You got to throw out your state's votes and just send your Trump people because all the fraud. And they also had a plan. And this is really the more kind of disturbing part of this. They said, if we can't get the Department of Justice to go along with this, we need Trump to fire them and replace them with people who will. Because what had happened prior to that was Donald Trump was giving out the phone number of Richard Donahue, who was a top Justice Department official. And Donahue was receiving phone calls left and right from Trump allies telling him they know about fraud. Oh, we've got this fraud over here because, of course, as we've talked about in the past, Donahue was one of the people at the DOJ who said, this is total BS. This isn't real. There's no fraud. We've looked at it. We can't find it. It doesn't exist. So Trump had all of his people, all these people I've mentioned, Gosar, Gohmert, Biggs, Jordan, Perry, all the rest of them, calling Donahue, telling him, oh, I've got evidence of fraud. Oh, we found it over here. You've got to investigate it. You can't let the election be certified. So their plan was, all right, if Donahue's not going to go along with this because he wasn't, if Bill Barr doesn't go along with this, fire these people, get rid of them. And of course, Bill Barr ended up resigning. And we'll replace them with people, you will, Donald. You're going to replace them with people who will say that there was fraud everywhere and the results can't be trusted. Each and every one of these men that I have listed, with the exception, obviously, of Donahue, needs to be expelled from Congress. I don't want them censured. I don't want them kicked off of their committees. I want them booted from office and then charged with treason. Or sedition, I guess it would be. That's what needs to happen. That's what this is. The Freedom Caucus, of which all these people are members, is not a Freedom Caucus at all. It's a sedition caucus. And that's what we should be referring to it as. These people actively were attempting to overthrow the duly elected government of the United States. Even if they hadn't been sworn in yet, they were attempting to overthrow the election of 2020. And therefore, every single one of them should be kicked out of office and charged with sedition. There is nothing short of that is going to make me happy. We've got a very real problem in this country, folks, and I hope everybody understands the severity of the path that we are currently on. Members of Congress trying to overthrow the results of an election, trying to pressure state governors to throw out their election results, basically make it to where your voters didn't have a voice anymore. to fire people at the DOJ if they wouldn't go along with your plan. And of course, the PowerPoint saying, let's use the damn military to go into these states and throw out the votes, literally throw them away. If you're not concerned about the path that America is on right now, thanks to these Republicans, then I guess you're complicit in this at this point. That's all I can say. You're complicit in the fact that these Republicans are seditionist traitors, and they're the ones calling the shots because they're still in office.